Hello students, welcome back to Python series. In this video, let's start a new topic, that is list in Python. What is a list? It is an ordered set of values. It's ordered set of values enclosed in square brackets. Ordered set of values enclosed in square bracket, we call it list. It is just a container that holds number of elements in a particular given order. And those elements we need to enclose within square bracket. This list is mutable. Mutable means we can change the values of the list. We can modify the values. Then, to access each element, we need to use an index. The index need to be mentioned within the square bracket if you want to identify a particular element. Then, these each values, we call it by the name elements, and elements can be of any type. It may be integer, a string, or decimal point numbers, or these values can be mixed up together in a list. So it is heterogeneous, not homogeneous. Different types of values can be given enclosed within this list. Now let's see some examples. Look at this first example, L1. L1 equals, within the square bracket, we have given 1, 2, 3, 4. So here we are giving 4 integer values enclosed within square bracket. So this is a list. Look at the second example, L2. Here, Delhi, Chennai, Mumbai. These are 3 strings. These strings are separated by commas and that is enclosed within square brackets. So this is also a list. Look at the third example. Here only square brackets are given, no elements are there. So this is an empty list. List with no elements. Now look at the L4. Here you can see different types of values are enclosed within square bracket. First one, ABC, it's a string. 10 and 20, they are integers. So different types of values are enclosed within the square bracket. So the list may contain different types of values. So it is heterogeneous. This L4 is an example for such a string. Such a list. Now L5. L5, look at the L5. There is two things here coming here. One is the list, the main list, and within that there is another list coming. So here you can see a nested list. First element is 1, second element is 2, third element is not 6, it is a list containing 6, 7 and 8, and the fourth element is 3. So here it is a list is coming and in another list. Such a list is called a nested list. Now let's see how we can access an element from a list. For accessing, we need index. Indexing is used for accessing elements. So how we can say the index? Here for a list we have forward index and also backward index, just like string. This forward index starts from 0 and then 1, 2, 3, etc. And the last index will be n minus 1 if n is the size of the list. How many elements are there in the list? That if that is denoted by n, then the last index will be n minus 1. Then backward index, it starts from minus n if n is the size and the last will be minus 1. So let's see the example list responsibility. This list is a combination of characters enclosed within this square bracket. So this is a list. Each element is a character. So here look at the forward index, it's starting from 0 and when you look at the length of this responsibility, it will be 40. So the last index is 14 minus 1, that is 30. Now look at the backward index, it is starting from minus n. Here the size is 14, so minus 14 is the starting and the last will be minus 1. So you can specify an integer value or an expression as an index. Then if the index is correct, it will retrieve that value. It will express that particular value. If we are trying to access using an index that does not exist, if the index is not correct, then it will generate an index error. It will generate an index error. Let's see some example for our discussion. Here we have a list called number with these values 12, 56, 87, 45, 23, 97, 56 and 27. This is our list. When we write the forward index, it will start from 0 and ends with 7. And backward index starts from -8 and ends with -1. Now let's access some elements. Num, then within the square bracket I am giving the index 2. So 2 means it's forward index and it is denoting 87. So the answer will be 87. Now next num of -1. Num of -1, it is backward index. So -1 represents 27. So that will be the answer. Now next one, num of -8. -8 is backward index, that is denoting this 12. So it will output this 12 here. Now I am trying to access this num of 8. Is there any forward index with 8? No. So it is going out of the range. So it will generate an index error. Now suppose if we want to assign some values to this list element. That means we are going to change the value of a particular element. Suppose I want to change this 97 to 55. I can simply assign using the equal sign. Number 5, that is representing this 97. So num of 5 equals 55. Then this 97 will be replaced by 55. Look at the current num list. See, 97 is replaced by 55. In this way, we can change the list also. List is mutable. That means we can modify the list. Now, let's see how we can create a list. To creating a list, simplest way is just specify the list name, then equals, then within the square bracket, you can specify each element one by one separated by comma. If it is a string, you have to enclose that within quotes. This is the simplest way. Look at this example given here. My list equals apple, comma, banana, comma, cherry. So this is the list of 3 string items. The my list is created now. Now let's look at this example. L equals then only the square bracket. That means it is an empty string. We are creating an empty string. This is the simplest way. Other ways are also there. Now let's see how we can create a list using a constructor. Constructor means it's a function for constructing an object. So here we are using the list constructor, list, or small letter list, then the bracket. This is the function. Using the list constructor, I am creating my list. My list equals list apple, banana, cherry. Or these items I am enclosing within the bracket. Now, list, to create an empty list, I can use this in this way. Instead of writing like this, you can use this method also. L equals list, then the bracket. Without any element, we are creating an empty list here. Now, suppose we are inputting some values from the user. User is inputting some values. That means through the input function. Then those items need to be converted to list. Then how it is possible? See, input, enter the elements. That is what we do. But the inputted values need to be converted to list. For that, we are giving the list constructor here. Now, the list equals list constructor, then input function. Then suppose I am inputting hello Python. then the list will looks like this. Even though I have entered strings, character set of characters, it will be the list of characters, each character as an element. This will be our list. Now let's input some numbers instead of characters. We are inputting some numbers 6, 7, 8, 5, 4, 6. We want to create a list like this, but what happens here is it will be inputted as list, but list of character. See, this 6 is enclosed within quotes. That means it is not integer, it is character. So this treats the elements as character, even though we are entering numbers. Now, to overcome this problem, we have a eval method, evaluation, eval method. This eval method identifies the data type of the values inputted and evaluated according to them automatically. It evaluates the data type. So this is the function of this eval function. Now let's use this eval function instead of list. Eval input, enter the elements. Then I am inputting the same numbers, but here this will be taken as integers. 654786 will be taken as integer because this is in an integer. So this will be taken as an integer when we display this L1. But to overcome that, you can give the values as a list to the eval function. So then that will be taken as a list. Suppose I am inputting the 674786. Instead of this, I am inputting in this way some numbers within the square bracket separated by commas. Then that will be taken as a list. When I display this L2, I will get a list of numbers, not characters. So in this way, if you want, you can give the list as inputted as enclosing within the brackets and separated by commas. Then normally what will happen when we give some numbers separated by commas without the bracket to eval function? What will happen when we give some numbers separated by commas without the square bracket? Evaluate function automatically takes this sequence of digits as tuple. See, when we display this L1, you can see these numbers enclosed in the parenthesis, curved bracket. That means this will be a tuple. This is a tuple. If we want to take it as a list, it must be enclosed within square bracket. That is the meaning. So these things we need to remember when we use this eval function. Now let's see nested list. Nested list means a list coming and the list. Look at this example. L1 equals 23. That's a number. Then W character 78.2. That's a decimal number. Then next element is 247 list. List containing 247. And look at the next element, that is also a list containing 8 and 16. So here two lists are coming within this main list. So this is a nested list. Now let's see how we can traverse through a list. Traversing through a list means we want to take each element by element. Each one we want to take out. Then look at this method 1. We are inputting a list. The list is SUNDAY, Sunday, the character list. Elements, each element is a character. So this is our list. I want to traverse through this list, day. So I'm just using a for loop for that, for D in day, then print the D. So the output S will comes first, then N, then U, then N. This way the Sunday will be displayed. And this end is used here with a space means I don't want to move this next character to the next lines. To avoid that, I have used this. Look at the method 2. Using a for loop in another way, we can access one by one. For I in range, here range function is used, range of len of day. Len, len will give the length of the list. That means how many elements are there in the list. That will be returned by this len. So you can get the size of the list by this, and that is given as the stop value to the range. Then each time we are displaying each element using the index day of I. Index is generated using the for loop, and in this way also you can display the elements, but first one will be more easier when we compare this one. Here range also need to be used, indexing need to be used. Here we are just taking out one by one and displaying that. So this is how we traverse through a list. So I hope you have got a basic idea about the list. In next video, let's see the operators of this list. That's all in this video. Thank you.